According to the geologists, the division of the continent, this fissure that Wendosen was so worried about when he was a child, will take place in 30 million years. They predict that the line of rivers and lakes at the Rift Valley will finally fuse together with the waters of the sea, thus flooding the whole area, as happened in Madagascar. At the Rift Fault, the Earth's cortex is just 25 kilometers deep, and from the inside flow 50,000 liters of hot water every day. The members of the Oromo ethnic group take advantage of the boiling spring water to cook, the tepid water for personal hygiene, and the mild currents to wash clothes. They also use it to ease pains of the body and even of the soul. These waters are said to be medicinal, and in fact they are. Their mysterious origin at the bottom of the world provides them with a secret power which cures everything. The waters of Ziwe Lake are warm and very muddy, which has caused some of its oldest inhabitants, such as the catfish, to develop those long mustaches, to be able to orient themselves correctly through the depths with no visibility. By the banks of the lake, fish are classified, sold, and cooked. The cleaning jobs are shared with the marabu, a clumsy stork which eats meat and is thankful for the morsels thrown to him by the fishermen. Some neighbors of Ziwe Lake, such as the weaver birds, are only passing through. They make frequent journeys, except during the period of reproduction. The males weave the hanging nests with extravagant acrobatics. Nevertheless, the females will choose only those that are finished the best. These lakes of the Rift Valley have been inhabited since time immemorial, and since the time when man began to behave as such. The Rift Valley is the cradle of the first hominids, and also the starting point for their long trip. A historical trip that started more than 3 million years ago, a genetic trip that generated multiple races, and also a geographic trip that allowed them to reach every corner of the planet. The current Ethiopia is a mosaic of peoples with origins in Europe, Africa, and Asia, who returned to the starting point as if they were pushed by the human influence of nostalgia. They came back to their origins to imagine new combinations, new half-castes of men and women whose land was called Abyssinia, which in the Semitic language means mix of peoples. At the beginning of the 21st century, more than 300 different languages are still spoken in Ethiopia. Today is Sunday, and therefore it is market day in Chencha village. Although the Oromo are the largest ethnic group in Ethiopia, here they are frankly a minority compared to the Dorsey and the rest of the populations that surround the village. The variety of attire and languages is intoxicating. The purchase and sale is made switching easily from one language to another, closing the agreement in 2 or 3 different languages. The market is the meeting point, a space to drive away the loneliness of distant houses for a few hours. Meanwhile, the old people enjoy a good pipe of shisha, and women refill plastic bottles with areke, the most popular corn liquor. In the old times, the Dorsey were famous for being brave warriors. Today, they are justly renowned for being skilled weavers. This family is weaving a chamma, the traditional gown worn by the majority of Ethiopian people, and that is one of the few common features among the different ethnic groups. The chammas woven by the Dorsey are the most esteemed and are in demand in the most distant points of the country. The Dorse are also famous for their architectural skills. They build very stylized houses up to 12 meters high. The shell can be moved from one place to another if convenient, and can also be covered with the most abundant vegetation of the new region.
One of these places that I like to visit most is the Mago National Park. My friend Teddy works there. He also studied biology in Cuba. As he likes animals very much, he asked for a job at the park, and he has been working there for 3 years.
Hey, ¿qué tal, Wendesen? ¿Cómo anda?
Bien.
Bien. ¿Qué tal?
Bien.
¿Dónde lo pasaste el año nuevo? Está gordito, ¿eh?
¿Cómo están?
Bien, bien. Aquí, ya tú sabes, ahí currando un poco.
¿Cómo eres?
Bien, tranquilo.
¿Y los animales que tienen?
Mago National Park was created to protect the wild fauna from the poachers who come from Sudan, escaping from war. But Teddy is alone to protect a territory of more than 2,000 square kilometers, and his successes are few and far between.
Teddy calls me frequently to help him solve another big problem he has, which in fact he can try to solve. In this area near the park live the Mursi. Their livestock is constantly attacked by the tsetse fly, which menaces with transmitting the sleep illness to the wild fauna. When this park was created, one of the objectives was to preserve the local fauna from this terrible illness.
Gita, the Mursi chief, has a good relationship with Teddy, and together they have come to an agreement to build this bridge that will allow the livestock to cross during the rainy season. The park grants the money, while the labor is the responsibility of the community. But his is not the only negotiations kept open. The other one is more complex and is related to the dilemma of the clash between tradition and modernity. During the last few months, the Mursi have suffered enormous losses that they attribute to strictly magical reasons. The sorcerers have acted, but their resources are diminishing, and the livestock continues to die. Gita and Teddy decided to call Wendosen, although they did not enjoy the approval of the whole community.
Our position is an easy one in these matters. For the Mursi, we are all strangers and owners of magic power that they don't understand. But on the other hand, they feel very attracted by this magic. They want to try it and learn how it works.
Gita, the chief, likes to have Teddy and Wendosen visit the village. He takes them to his home and wants to be near them. He also poaches, and his invitation to eat raw antelope meat is a way to involve them in his childish pranks. The Mursi, like the majority of the communities that surround the park, have always dedicated themselves to hunting animals that are now officially protected. Teddy must behave with much diplomacy to play a role in places where very different interests are confronted. The Mursi are not legally authorized to hunt, but alternatives to subsist cannot be offered. Modernity is advancing on them with rules that they cannot respect.
አሁን ምን ማድረግ